last snow, so I finally did it.
It's like very good to see you.
Be seen.
Tell us just how today's been going. Any word of any issues coming into the Board of Elections about any problems with machines or anything like that?
Well, it's been a beautiful day, obviously weather-wise, which means that there's no reason for people not to get out there and vote. It's by and large part been going very smoothly. We have a couple of problems here or there, some with the e-poll books. We had a little problem with that in Hamilton County. Occasionally we'll have a janitor show up late or something like that to open up the polls, but for the most part things have been going very smoothly.
How many counties are using those new voter check-ins?
I don't know off the top of my head.
And Hamilton County said 10 polling stations?
They have 565 polling locations. They had 10 of them that they had problems with, and it was really not because of the equipment, it was because the poll workers just didn't use the equipment the right way.
So far, what are you hearing about voter turnout today?
Well, if you look at the absentee ballot requests, I think this is a good rule of thumb to work by. If you look at the absentee ballot requests, we've had 383,000 ballots returned, about 490,000 requested. So that's much lower than the last odd year elections in which statewide issues were on the ballot. So if we're using absentee returns as a guide, it looks like lower than normal turnout. However, the reports that we've had from the field around the state seem to be that there's steady flow of people coming into polling locations around the state, so perhaps election day turnout will be higher and make up for the low absentee totals. So I'm hopeful that we'll see people turn out, but it is going to be true for sure that even though we've had nearly 30 days of voting in Ohio, that the minority of voters will end up making the decision for the majority of people. We will have fewer than 50% of the voters in the state turn out.
Had you made a prediction on how much which you thought the turnout was going to be?
We don't. We typically don't do that.
When do you think you'll have all the totals done?
Well, we'll have almost, as soon as the polls close, we will have absentee ballots come in, and we'll know a lot within a few minutes after the polls close. But
finals.
This is not. Yeah, this is finals. Come in as fast as they can get them there. But I don't think that this should be one of those situations where we go late into the night not knowing the answers to these questions.
The ACLU had mentioned that in places where there had been these electronic poll book problems, that maybe the voting hours should be extended, or if there had been provisional ballot issues not available.
I'm not aware that anybody in those locations were denied access to a ballot. They were given a provisional ballot to vote in those circumstances where they couldn't get access to a regular ballot. I've asked the county boards to make sure that they have a plan. They are calling all voters that potentially were impacted, and they are making accommodations to try to make sure that we account for them, and we should. If there are problems that the local boards make, they should fix them, and they should honor the voters' intent to try to get out there, cast their ballots, and that seems like something they should be able to accommodate.
And is this only been an issue in Hamilton County, or are there other locations that have had?
There's probably the most acute was there in Hamilton County, but again, that was only 10 precinct locations in the entire county, and it was only for a short period of time. But it's pretty common when you have 9,000 precinct locations and 40,000 poll workers at facilities you don't control that you're going to have glitches, and when we have them, we should fix them and make sure that voters aren't inconvenienced.
Do you know how many voters they're calling?
Well, they should be calling all of them in their precincts that were affected.
League of Women Voters is having a hotline and right on the station, and they're not really getting any complaints about issues with machines. The one thing that they're saying, though, is they're getting a lot of calls from people confused about issue 2, confused that if they're against monopolies,